This is this Chinese censorship, and it's finally coming out in the mainstream media. Just this morning, I saw it coming out exactly what's going on. We got 1,000 Google employees over have signed a petition objecting to the Chinese style censorship. So the stuff Alex Jones has been teaching is true and telling us. I don't approve of the way he does it. I don't approve of his reporters going and making trouble with Antifa. Okay, and I sure don't approve of a lot of Antifa's tactics and covering their faces. I mean, what's that all about? They're afraid of the reputation. Well, I mean, then don't do what you're doing, even for money. I mean, what is money? I mean, especially for money. If you know you've got to go to those rallies and whatnot, you do it because it's heartfelt, man. You're passionate about your beliefs. That's great, and I understand it. But hey, well, this political way is right. This economic way is right. This social way is right. You believe all that stuff. Fine, stick to your guns, but have conversation at least. Be willing to hear people out. Listen to the conservatives. Listen to what they have to say. Confront them on crony capitalism and the bailout of '08. Say, well, how do you stand on that? Would you recommend that Trump revisits that? We go back in time and have that capitalistic market correction, that pro-free market correction we should have had, where your housing dollars go through the roof, okay, and the percentage of homeowners goes through the roof, okay? That's what we want in America. That, to me, is making America great again. When you could buy a home, be a homeowner, a minimum wage job. If your wife wanted to, she could stay home, take care of the house and kids, whatever. Okay, it was a lot easier back in the '60s to do that on a minimum wage job. $1 an hour. $1 an hour was worth more than $30 an hour today. Literally. And all this stuff can be provable by doing the math. Okay, the cost to purchase a home. That's what you're looking at. A livable wage, a living wage. That's what we had back then. And the Labor Department has been deliberately, they're not even just profoundly remiss, okay, at giving proportional, equivalent, commensurate cost of living adjustments over the decades this has been going on. So they had to do it slowly, like the frog in the pot of water can't jump out if you do it slowly enough. He's just, I don't know how it works, but mesmerized by, oh, it feels so good. It's just, turning up the heat really slow. But we're boiling now. We can't take it anymore, and that's good. We're Americans. We're a special breed. We're going to take this crap. We know what you people are doing, the hyperinflation, what you do in Venezuela under the banner of socialism. Okay? Well, we don't want that. We don't want China. Okay? We don't want it. We don't want Zimbabwe with the hyperinflation. We don't want Weimar Germany. We want America. Okay? And we're smart enough to get in your faces and tell you, what the hell, this is not a democracy. This is not a republic. You give a crap. You think you're so you're the elitists. You think you're so smart, you're going to go against the will of the people and bail these criminal banksters out at our expense, make us pay the tab by a higher cost of living tax that's forced down our throats. Okay, and that's capitalism? Well, I am the most anti-capitalistic guy you ever met. Okay, but actually the fact is, after reading Adam Smith's book and understanding a little bit about this supply and demand thing, and the fact that the only time your coins are supposed to be allowed to be clipped and your currency debased to have cost of living inflation is when there's a disruption in the supply chain. And you could think of many examples of a disruption. It's a temporary state of affairs. So as soon as it's over and we go out and we manufacture plenty and more, an abundance of that thing that we ran short of, we find methods, that's knowledge, that's technology, that's just normal, natural, automatic, organic advancement of our species with the technology. We're using it to our advantage. I mean, we have the heavy equipment to build the reservoirs, to make sure we got plenty of water for our crops, all this kind of crap. To get us through years if we need to. We can figure it out. We've got the knowledge, the technology to do that. So we can have a superfluity, an abundance, okay, an excess, whatever it is we want. Houses all over the world, vacant, just waiting for you to live there as long as you want, taken care of, landscape, beautiful, because people love to serve one another. We have an instinct, okay? So people that think it's radical, this idea of evolving and working toward a world entirely without money, and the way to do that is through true capitalism, through prosperity. Prosperity is the key to this freedom, because look, unless you're financially free as part of the package of freedom, right, because it's a whole thing, just like happiness. encompasses a lot of different components. So does freedom. It has to be absolute. It's free is free. Okay, can't get any cheaper than free. Okay, as an allegory, free. It's that's it. So money is a scam from the get-go. Even though this has been going on thousands of years, and we're just it's just ushered in as if this spirit lives in perpetuity that's forcing us to use money when no other creature on the face of the earth has any use for it, and we being far and away more intellectual than all the other creatures combined, each one of us, okay, and we accept this status quo, this state of affairs. It's unnerving to me. It's insufferable. It's untenable. And and like I said, the way that I cope is by turning to God, saying, God, let me at least let everybody I get to meet on the face of this earth, let them know where I'm coming from. Okay, that if I had my way, it'd be your way. And what I'm talking about is to be set free. And as long as we got this game we call a monetary based reality, well, it's just the way it is. You're born with this cost of living. You don't get a choice. It's just the people in charge decided that this is the best method, and so you just go along with it and go with the flow, the path of least resistance. Ignorance is bliss. Okay, don't let anybody hurt your head. You've got a great education, you got a PhD or a master's degree, and you got a great career. So why would you want to rock the status quo boat, the establishment boat? You wouldn't typically, because you've been trained that way. So you care more about money than you do about human beings. Okay. We've got a big problem. We got people with the intellectual prowess of Alex Jones that believe the earth is overpopulated. I've heard him say this, and he won't touch on disruptive technology. He won't touch on the fact that if you had even just a basic income, like an extension of Social Security for people, 18 years and up, let's say, if they choose to tap into it, it's theirs. It's their planet too. The resources belong in part to them. So it's not at all unreasonable. But if you had that scenario, you could save the taxpayers a lot of money, okay? Because the vast majority of jobs out there are being done, they revolve around the problem. And if the problem of desperate poverty and the implications thereof, the high crime, abortions, well, it's not a crime, I guess, but he doesn't like it, and I don't either. But, make sure our women are taken care of for sure. And the dubious wars would be much harder to get started. Be no incentive. These false flags, these horrible conspiracies that really are real. There's black hats in high places in our government. And they have to be watched very closely by the white hats. The entire debt industrial complex. Okay, all those people's jobs would be affected. The welfare industrial complex. Just think that we're talking about maybe 100 million jobs out there revolve around the problem. And you talk about traffic on the highway, it's going to disappear overnight. Do you understand? And the city planners, they need to think way outside the box. Plan 100,000 years in advance, plan a city. And when you do that, okay, you spread out. And then we release the disruptive technology that, of course, the oil companies, for one example, are very much opposed to, because if you can run your car on water, which is readily available to everybody, and you got a device that can turn that water into hydrogen, and it's safe because it's only done on demand, so you don't have to drive around with a bomb in your gas tank, then you can see the perks, the benefits of, and how you can suddenly see the earth is not overpopulated. We've been scammed. I mean, here in California, you take California, for example. The fact is, we could probably fit literally billions of quarter-acre lots here, and still have plenty of room for plenty of public parks and recreational areas. So, you know what? I mean, when it comes to overpopulation, let God decide that. It shows a lack of faith in God, okay? Because who gave us our fertility, our ability to procreate? Just remember that. And understand that that same one, okay, that force, that higher power, that God, that creator, okay, has the power to remove our fertility. When the earth is populated to his satisfaction, that's exactly what I believe he'll do. Until that time, we need not worry about overpopulation.